Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So welcome to this week's TOC, which might be a bit shorter due to some electrical shenanigans for Amelia. So we did have an update from the app runtime platform working group, though it looks like that's going to be bounced out by a week. So I'll just move that around in the agenda, ready for next time. Then there's reviewing actions from last week, review outstanding PRs, any election updates that we need to be aware of, and then any other business. Has anyone got anything to add? Oh, okay, cool. If we make a start then with reviewing the actions from last week. So the first one was an async discussion on Karifi promotion. So I kicked this off in the TOC channel, but the only thing that I got was the Kubernetes Slack channel, since it's not anywhere I'm particularly close to. If anyone has any thoughts, I will just grab a link to that. And I will just put that in as a link. Feel free to drop it in on there. So the next item we had got, so I'll just pull up the chat, was a TOC review of this one, 295.
That makes sense to share your screen, assuming you're looking at the GitHub project.
I wasn't looking at the GitHub project yet because I'm just doing the review actions at the moment. So 295 was our update of roles, MD to match RFC 0006 and 0008, which coincidentally Amelia had opened a parallel PR which did more or less exactly the same.
Yeah, I understand it very well because it's really difficult to find the rules. The only thing I don't like is that we now duplicate the text. The minimum I would like to see is at least a link to the RFC. Duplicating the text might be fine because it's easier to consume for anybody, so why not? But
I'm just going to put a request on there for TOC as a reviewer. But yeah, feel free to feedback anything in there. Okay, then Eric, there was your one to update on your comment on 279 around the build pack dependencies, but I did see that you had done some updates on there, so that all looks good.
Yeah, I just added a note from what we talked about last week.
Yep, so that's cool. And David, I did see your note in cfdev, and there has been activity I've seen.
There's activity on, okay, so maybe I don't know how to follow cfdev correctly, where people actually replying to the email, but I saw activity in the PR for sure.
No, I saw activity on the PR.
Responses?
No,
okay, great. Yeah, I didn't want people to reply to the email necessarily anyway. No one, you all have lots of useful suggestions, but no one is challenging the proposal so far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Can't stop progress. It's the short one.
Yep, exactly. Okay, cool.
Are we able to, since it's been a week, are we able to be done?
Well, technically you've not called a final comment period.
No. All right.
You just opened it for general comments.
All right, fair. I don't mind waiting a little bit. I'm just going to start queuing up the PRs though.
Do you want to call for a final comment period now? Because we could just vote on it and then, okay.
What is the final comment period again? So we're voting as a TOC and then there's a final comment period where people can be like, you did a bad job.
Yeah, that's then the roughly week-long period for people to say, I actually need to comment on this if I care about it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of the speak or forever hold your peace period until we have to arrange the divorce.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do that vote now then, so we can decide whether we want to do this. Okay. Yeah. All in favor of this particular thing that I said that we should do. I'm also on board. Okay. Okay. So we've got 4. Jan is not voting, but it doesn't have to because we got 4 out of 5 of us.
Yep.
So I can reply to the cfdev thread saying we did pass it as a TOC. We're in this final comment period, and we'll start queuing up the PRs to get ready to realize this.
Yep.
As relatively soon. Which means the next thing I have to do is write up a budget based on these numbers for how we can have each working group, like best practices for how each working group should allocate their infrastructure resources and spending levels to keep things under control. But based on this now, which is much better than based on the other. And then I'm out of here. That's my goal, because I'm running out of time, man.
Okay, cool.
I'm leaving a comment on the PR that we called for and approved the final comment period for the RFC.
Okay, thank you very much. And that sort of neatly segues us into the board. So the first one in to review is one that we've just talked about. So that's all cool in that one. The update roles we have also discussed, as that was a previous action in there. So if people just fancy having a look at that, that'd be great, because then we can get any changes in there and get that one moving through. And then there's validate of working group fragments and contributors. So myself and Eric are happy with this one. Stephan, are you just looking for other people to yay or nay on this one?
No, I think we are then 3 from the TOC who agree, including me, who opens the PR. Okay. I'm fine to merge it. The changes, I put it on TOC because I changed the workgroup charters a bit, but it's really just syntactic stuff. Yep. And if then I merge it and go on, because then I could start with the generation of the working groups. I have here one smaller question. If we want to discuss it right away, I would need to add bots to the YAMLs because that's missing. I cannot generate the bots. I would then add a bots subnode on the same level as the execution and technical leads, because then everything can be easily generated. Do we need an RFC for that, or because we don't have an RFC for the whole YAML structure yet?
Yeah, to me, one. I don't think it needs one. That's an implementation detail of the automation.
Okay, fine. Then I will add it. I mean, we can do that later. I think the automation is more important than the RFC at the moment. There's a validation in place now.
Yep.
Nothing can go wrong, besides the many PRs that are now blocked for merging, probably caused by automation. We will come to that, I guess.
Okay, cool. I'm guessing there's nothing really to say on the Stratos side at the moment. So we just wait on that one. When in progress, we've got the RFC to remove non-standard GitHub teams. How can we go? Can we move forward with this one now then, since things are lining up?
Well, we need first the automation for the workgroup teams. My idea is here I would implement an automation, and then we can discuss it in the next TOC, hopefully, if I finish everything. And I would then enable it, let's say, for one working group, and I would choose the deployments working group, because here I have the workgroup lead at hand. And we can then sort it out until it works. And then we can go from there to all the working groups. Because I would say all teams are not correct, to summarize it, basically, which is no surprise when you maintain it manually.
Yes.
Also happy to volunteer the foundational infrastructure working group for early adoption.
Okay, cool. And then, that's one that we've already talked about as well, the RFC for moving build pack dependency. and Eric has commented on that one, so we're all okay there. I didn't see anything new in the inbox that needed moving over in particular. Are there any other PRs that anyone wants to flag up?
Yeah, I created one for cleaning up stem cells.
Okay, cool. Let's just see. Have you got the link to there we are.
Ruben, do you know how much the cost of those? Can you approximate for us what it costs to keep all those stem cells around?
The thing I've heard like 40,000 per year, and when cleaning up it took like 16,000, but that's for only the Xenial ones, right? So that's like what we do for VMware. So I don't exactly know the numbers because a lot of stuff is still split. So not everything is currently in accounts owned by the foundation. But this is also like, I mean, this problem would eventually, like if we don't set guidelines for this, this will eventually be a foundation problem as well.
I see. So we started building bionic light images in CFF accounts, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but it could be that some of the light stem cells are still in VMware owned accounts. It is at least in the government regions, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
That's right. Yeah, this is like build packs. We need to get ahead of the expiration policy, right? Otherwise, we're kind of committing to, and if we don't think we can do it for Bionic reasonably, we could do it for Jammy, right? We got to get ahead of the expiration policy.
Like,
right?
I think like if we start deciding this is the policy, like we have metadata on the, like at least I think the creation data on these things. So it will be like a one-off thing to do the cleanup, but at least if we can say, yes, this is how long we want to keep these things around. If we can get consensus there, I think that would be a big win.
I think this is one that definitely needs some community input into it, because the potential side effects of that stem cell that you're relying on for your obscure app has just got away is pretty huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And then what about the other infrastructures? We got our Google stem cells, our Azure stem cells, our Windows Azure stem cells, our Windows Google stem cells, and our Windows stem cells. All right. But I guess we apply the same policy. We just like would be wide sweeping. I mean, yes. We've pulled these before by accident for people. It is real catastrophic, right? So like Resurrector can't do its job, right? You're in the middle of a deploy and it can't like find the VM to deploy. I assume running VMs are unaffected when you delete and backing EBS volume for an AMI because it's already copied it.
Yeah.
Do we have any telemetry about which specific stem cells are getting retrieved?
No, so that would also be work, right? We could set up some CloudTrail thing, but it is also spread across multiple accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not ideal. Yeah, that's why. So like my idea here is that like light stem cells are actually like a bit of like a perk, right? It's not technically needed. Heavy stem cells work just as well. So you get like this benefit of if you're staying up to date, you can use a light stem cell, right? You could see it like that. So we could like maybe negotiate a bit about like the heavy stem cells, how long we want to keep those around. And also those can be cheaper because like you can do things where you have policies in your bucket where it goes to like, I don't know, cheaper storage, but that doesn't work for EBS, right? So EBS, for example, for the AMIs, you need to have a snapshot per region, and that's quite expensive.
Glacier meets EBS. Okay, so I think it should not apply to the Windows stem cells because we can only publish them as light. You can't create heavy stem cells out of Windows. But I think for the light stem cells on the 3 infrastructures in the public regions on Linux, starting with Bionic, or maybe starting with Jammy, I love this idea of creating a policy that says like you can boot it for 6 months or whatever policy you think makes sense, Ruben, around some reasonable expiration time. we also might want to not use them in CF deployment. I'm not even sure we do use them. We don't use them in Bosch deployment. I noticed recently. I was like, why is this taking so long to create a stem cell? It's usually really fast. And then like, I was like, oh, it must be using heavy stem cells. So we could also just phase them out is another possibility and go make the heavy stem cells everywhere.
It's gonna be too close to the
Yeah, I mean, like that would probably affect a lot of people's pipelines, right? Like, I think light stem cells are quite nice for pipelines if you're testing upstream, right?
Yeah.
So, but like, then it's just like, as I say, a perk, right? So you don't actually need to keep like really old ones around. Maybe keeping the 10 last or something would also be a good thing. Enough.
Yeah, I guess that's interesting. And if it fails to your deploy, that means that you're on. If you make it time-based, you're like, if it fails to deploy, that means you're using a stem cell that's at least 6 months out of date, which has some pretty old CVEs and packages in it. And like, it's really time to upgrade the version of either Bosch deployment or CF deployment that you deploy at that point.
Yeah, I think it's a good signal also, like security-wise. Like we don't actually want people to run these things because it's a security issue.
But it impacts the like HA story of the platform, right? Which is like the resurrector could fail to resurrect a VM at runtime because of this change, right? In theory.
If they are concerned about that, they should start using heavy stem cells to begin with, because then that wouldn't be the case.
Okay, well, anyway, it sounds like you got a good idea. It sounds like this is the kind of thing that we really should do. And we can negotiate over the details about what line it starts with, what the expiration policy is, and so on. But like generally, I don't think anyone's going to fight you on it.
At this point, I would say probably push it to the community, promote it, get some input from people, see what the feel is. And then we can move it forwards from there when we've got a bit more info from people.
Yeah.
That seems like a sensible way to go, I think.
Yeah, but I'm like, I would like to also do it for the trusty and Xenial stem cells that we still have, that we are still storing somewhere. Right.
We could also get rid of them, right? Is another possibility,
yes,
right? Maybe when
that's
Jimmy comes out, it may be time.
Yeah, it's like a cleanup thing, like because the 3 years have probably already expired, right? So it all just falls out of this policy.
Definitely for trusty.
Yeah, for trusty, definitely, right? So we can just start removing those. Okay, I will send this out probably to cfdev. Would that be a good place to get feedback?
Yeah, I go cfdev first of all and point people back to it.
But you got to give them a proposal, right? Be like, I think we should clean them up after 6 months.
But that's in the RFC, right? The RFC
exactly.
says like one year for light and 3 years for heavy ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ruben, you could even make that more aggressive and see who objects, I suppose, if you feel like it.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what's compatible with the VMware policy or not.
Yeah. No, that's entirely fair enough. Okay, cool. Any other PRs? No. Okay. So, Chris, are there any election updates that we need to be aware of?
Not particularly. Things seem to be going pretty well. Just checked. There's like 50 votes in so far, so people are voting. I'll put in one more, last call for votes, probably tomorrow or something, and that'll end on Friday. We'll take a look at the results and announce them next Wednesday, and then the following Tuesday will be the first meeting of our new TOC, which means next week is the final meeting for this inaugural TOC class of 2021.
So David needs to make all his PRs and get all those merged, right?
David, it's a lot of work to do.
I better get a budget ready by next week. That's what I'm hearing. That's not crazy. I could do that.
Cool. All right. Yeah, so that's okay. 50 votes in so far. That's good to know. How many is that out of? Because I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, you mean how many eligible voters are there?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Several hundred. But
Okay.
I mean, those are just anyone that's put enough commit or a number of commits. So a lot of them are not.
I think the number stands at around 300.
Yeah, something like that. So, wasn't expecting anywhere close to half even, right? But we'll probably get some more before the end of the week.
Okay.
Manline says a little over 300 lines in the voters.yaml file. So yeah, a little over 300.
Yeah. All right, cool. I just wanted to kind of get a vague idea of what interaction was like. Yeah, that seems
not
pretty
bad.
all right to me. Then, do we have anything for any other business? So
Chris,
the only.
do we want to discuss anything about the event yet, or maybe save it for later?
I don't have a whole lot to talk about with that yet, just because I haven't gotten confirmation back from the events team and KubeCon. I'd love to get cracking on that, but I think I sort of have to just wait till they get back to me with that. At least, it'd be nice to know what day it's going to be on. But very soon there'll be a lot of planning that needs to go into that, and we'll have to have a CFP and all sorts of fun stuff like that.
Okay. The only thing I was going to float was, how do we want to do the handover from one TOC to another? I'm quite happy.
Maximum ceremony, like maybe like a band, marching band, obviously, or
there should be an offsite ceremony, probably south of France. Maybe
Hawaii? Oh, yeah.
A line of people like saying good game, whatever, doing high fives, passing each other, the new and old TOC. If you're on both, it's real awkward. You have to like kind of go around.
I'd say all TOC members should get some kind of payout, right, Steve?
Severance package, right?
swag package, outgoing swag package. Get 1,000 pins.
TOC member.
Actually, I'm not sure if I would be allowed to take such a swag package. Like, anyway, anyway.
But yeah, it's just something that we might want to do a bit of mulling over how to do. I mean, I'm more than happy to sort of prep an agenda for that one and kind of go hello and welcome, and now I am disappearing quietly into the back. If that's what we want to do. But yeah, have a think about it over the next week or so that we can figure out how to make it as smooth as possible. Because I guess one of the first things you're going to have to do is elect a new chair.
Indeed.
I guess that is kind of the last responsibility of the old chair, right? To make sure that this election goes smoothly.
Yes.
I mean, at that first meeting, I presume we would put a call out to the new TOC members, and they could nominate themselves or someone else to be the new TOC lead. And then perhaps there wouldn't be a TOC lead for a week or two, depending on the timeline there. And then once that's confirmed by vote, then we've got a new TOC lead, and should be good to go.
Seems like a perfectly reasonable way to go to me. Okay. Has anyone got anything else for this week? Oh, I guess we should probably all gain half an hour back in that case. So enjoy all, and I shall see you next week.
See you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers all.